Performing mitzvahs brings the neshama closer to Hashem. How is that possible if the neshama is already part of and one with Hashem?
There are many answers to this question, found in various places in Chassidus, including two answers that are found in Tanya. This question is asked twice in Tanya. The first time it's asked in Perek Dalet in chapter 4, and the second time it's repeated again is in chapter 35, Perek Lamed Hey, with a very, very different answer. In Perek Dalet, the answer is very simple. The neshama may be a chelik al-kami mal mamash. The soul may be a part of God. But as the neshama comes on into this world, it's cut off from Mateirish completely. And the neshama as it exists in this world has no idea that it's a chelik al-kami mal mamash. And it needs Torah and mitzvahs to connect it to Hashem, to help it discover that it's a chelik al-kami mal mamash. After Torah and mitzvahs help a neshama discover that it's a chelik al-kami mal mamash, you can go on to other ideas like the neshama that's already discovered that as a chelik al-kami mal can do something for the sake of Torah and mitzvahs, l'shmo, l'shem Torah, and so on. That's Perek Dalet. That the neshama, as it comes down lamata, is cut off from Mateirish. In Perek Lamed Hey, you have different tenets. You're right. The neshama is a chelik al-kami mal mamash, and it knows it. It knows it. It's a lakus down here. It's a lakus down here to the extent that it has yira and avarabba and avabatanug. The highest levels of attachment to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Says the Rebbe, nevertheless, even the neshama that is intimate with HaKadosh Baruch Hu as possible is called yesh misha'ev. The neshama, in as much as it has a relationship with Hashem, the beginning of that relationship is I. I love God. And I means that the neshama is separate from Hashem, even though it's expressing such an enormous sense of His presence, to the degree that it loves Hashem to the state, to the level of Yireh and Tainug, delighting in the experience of godliness, it's always Yesh Mishayim. A mitzvah has one property that the neshama on the highest levels does not have, and that is bittul. When you do a mitzvah, you're not doing what you want, you're doing what Hashem wants. So your neshama as a godly entity, everything it does based on its nature has an ego element. Even if its nature is to be totally bottled to the Eibishter, that total bittul to the Eibishter is I am totally bottled. But when a neshama goes away from it, what it is, to do the will of Hashem in a mitzvah, Hashem said to do it, you do it even though you don't want to. Or just because He said. In that bittul, you're more attached to the Eibishter than you're attached to the Eibishter in your incredible state of Ava B'Tanugim, because here there's bittul. These are the two answers found in the Sefer Tanya Kadisha. There are different answers. Again, the first answer is that the neshama is cut off from its cheirish and needs Torah mitzvahs to reveal what it is. And the second answer is that the neshama, even if it knows what it is yesh misha'ev, and only Torah mitzvahs, because of the bittul, give it ashras hashchina krekshat mazein sof. But there's more. And the more goes basically like this. You need to understand the Kabbalah. And the Kabbalah is that neshamas come from Kalim and not from Eir. I'll say this very, very briefly, just for the purposes of giving context, even though I have no intentions of explaining it at all. There is Pnimius of Pnimius, Chitonius of Pnimius, Pnimius of Chitonius, and Chitonius of Chitonius. Which in other words is called Pnimius ha'Eir and Chitonius ha'Eir, Pnimius ha'Kelim and Chitonius ha'Kelim. Torah comes from Pnimius of Pnimius, Pnimius ha'Eir. Mitzvahs come from Chitonius of Pnimius, Chitonius ha'Eir. Neshamas come from Pnimius of Chitonius, Pnimius ha'Kelim. And Elames come from Chitonius of Chitonius or Chitonius ha'Kelim. The neshama is rooted in Kelim. That's why it's called Teheri and not Kadesha. Teheri is Kelim, Kedusha is Eir. But if you learn enough Chassidus, you will discover that Kelim have a higher shadish than Eir. Eir is Mesyachas to Moed and Kelim are Mesyachas to Atzmos. In other words, a Keli has a higher source than light. But the higher source that Keli has over Eir expresses itself in separateness, in independence. light of Hashem reflects Hashem, but has no ego, has no self-identity. The vessels of Hashem reflect Hashem also, but what do they reflect? Mitzvah independence. Neshamas have a very deep source, but this deep source is the basis for them identifying with themselves. They're Achei Temimim mamish, with their own free will. Just like Hashem has free will, and free will comes from Atzmas Hus, a neshama was given free will, because it comes from Atzmas Hus. But in order for the neshama's will to be free, it needs to be separate from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In other words, it's an expression of the Eibishter in its separateness. And of course, the mashal for this is that when you talk about Torah, you use two mishalim, two illustrations, light and ideas. And both in light and in ideas, you see reflected their source. And the neshamas are compared to children and chosen ones, nivcharim, chosen ones. Children come from parents. What is the greatest gift that parents give children? Their essence. The greatest gift that parents give children is their essence. And what is that essence? That they're separate from their parents. God forbid a child should grow up and hold on to his mother's apron. It's disease, that's sick. The greatest gift your parents gave you is that you should be like them, separate from their parents. The Eibishter gave us the gift of being children, separate from the Eibishter. And on a deeper level still, he chose us, because this is a level even more separate. That's why you have to have Torah mitzvahs. Because we were designed to be separate. The pnimius of that separateness is the deepest connection. But the chitzenius of that separateness is separateness. Torah mitzvahs reveals it in two levels. On the lower level, a yid is connected to the Eibishter through the Torah. And on the higher level, the yid who's revealed his connection to the Eibishter does the Torah a favor when he learns it and connects the Torah to the Eibishter. David Hoya Makasha Torah Shalmaile Makadosh.